You might ask, why do I do these videos? I do them because I actually enjoy using film cameras, and I want other people to not only enjoy using them but know how to use them. And a camera that I used to use a lot was a Yashica mat. Couldn't afford a Rolleiflex, so I had a Yashica mat that I really liked, and I used it for years, but in the end the gears wore out. What I'm talking about today is a pre-runner of the Yashica mat, a Yashica 635. Now the 635 is a little bit of an odd beast because it came out in 1959 and it actually will do 35mm and 120. And if we take a quick look at the camera, we have obviously the twin lens. That's the whole point. We look down through there and we've got this twin lens here, and the focusing is on the side here. We focus here. The film, let's start with putting the film in. The film goes in at the bottom here, and we would have a take up spool here and put the film in at the bottom and through here. Now 635 is allowing us to actually use 35mm film as well, which you might think is a bit bizarre, but it was popular in the day to do so sometimes. And if you think of it, you've got a 80mm lens, so if you then convert it to 35mm, it suddenly becomes a very good portrait camera, and that is what a lot of people use them for. However, I don't have the 35mm kit, so I can't talk about 35mm today. I'm going to talk about the use of 120. So as I said, load film here, across there, and you take it to the start on the red line here. Now the focusing us on the other side, you can see this knob here which says, sorry, this one here which says for 35mm only, and that is what you are going to use if you were to use 35mm, but I'm not going to use 35mm, so we're going to ignore that for today. Now, so where the camera is so similar to the Rolleiflex is the controls on the top here, where I can alter my f-stop and my shutter speed just by looking down. So I can set my shutter speed, let's say 100 and f11. So I'm looking down and I can see here what my shutter and aperture is. So the whole joy of and success of this type of camera was you could see everything. Now later cameras had a meter. This, you can see, doesn't have a meter. It does have something that some people would find annoying, but I actually rather liked on this model compared to what came later, the Yashica mat. Now the rinder on the Yashica mat is a crank. The lower cameras like the Rolleicord and this, you have to press this button to rind the film. Now, so it's not quite as easy as cranking, you have to rind it. But on the Yashica mat, the handle has to go in for you to then be able to take a photograph. And it might just be me, but the times I've used the Yashica mat and haven't put in the handle, okay, you can accuse me of being lazy, but I just haven't, and then I've missed a shot. Now on here, you set the shutter by this little lever here. That actually sets the shutter. Now, you set the shutter and you then rind on. Now I found that this camera was actually easier to use than the Yashica mat. That is basically it. But let's see what happened when I took a film. The first photograph is taken at Burton Bradstock in Dorset, and it's simply of the waves crashing into the shore, and it reminded me how nice this camera is actually to use. The viewfinder is nice and bright, you have all the information in down below when you just look down to the viewfinder. And I really like the square format because you can see it as a square, which I have left all these as squares. I haven't done any editing of crop, but if you do want to go landscape or you do want to go portrait, you just crop accordingly, and it gives you a versatility on your shots. I was really impressed. This lens is very similar to the lens I remember on my old Yashica mat. In fact, the whole camera, okay, it's a Yashica, so it is going to be similar, but I actually preferred it to the Yashica mat. I went on previously about the riding crank having to be in on the Yashica mat, and I found that really annoying. On this, you just have to remember to set the shutter, which reminds me a little bit of this Mamiya C220, which is the down market version of the 330, but you have to do the same thing. You have to set the shutter, and as long as you don't mind setting the shutter, it has some advantages, I think. And it enables you, if you wanted to do multiple exposures, which I didn't do here, but you could. Now here is the church on the Wave from Aberystwyth to Bridport, and as I said, the sharpness of this lens is great. I think it was not the brightest of morning, so I think I'm on about 5.6 or even perhaps 3.8 here, and I've got a nice bit of blurredness going on at the back, as you can see. This farmyard is great. I don't know, there's something about winter and black and white I really like. This actually was taken on full plan Forma Film 200, so it is a slightly faster film, and yet the grain isn't a lot more notably grainy to me. I think it would be if I started to blow it up, but I was pleased with the film. I developed the film in ID 11. It took a little bit longer. I think it was 11 minutes. Oh no, it actually was shorter. It was 9 minutes instead of the normal 10 minutes. 9 minutes diluted at 1:1. Really pleased with this camera. I'm going to keep it for a bit and use it. So I can thoroughly recommend the Yashica 635. Thanks for watching.